If a 41-year-old LeBron James comes out and lead this Laker team to a first-round victory, being a heavy underdog, I don't want to hear anything about the GOAT conversation.
We ain't having no more conversations about who's the greatest player ever. At 41 years old,
right.
If you win a series by yourself without your top two players, we're not having a conversation about who's the greatest player.
James back down on Smith. Double comp. Here is James working on Tari Eason. We got into that foul trouble in the first half with 3 of them. Now it's James.
If you could have load management in the playoffs, I think that's what it would look like.
It's largest lead. It's 11. James, what a grab. Then
if you could have load management in the playoffs, I think that's what it would look like.
When you look at this year's Rockets versus Lakers matchup, it's the first round series with the loudest storylines and the heaviest narrative weight of all. And if you zoom out to the main storyline, it was pretty simple and heavily pushed. If LeBron took down this Houston squad and knocked off Durant, it was being framed as the moment that would crown him GOAT and push him past Michael Jordan. Now listen, that kind of framing, it's wild, exaggerated, and straight out of the usual LeBron fan narrative playbook. And we're talking about a first-round series here. Let that sink in for a second. I don't care how stacked the rosters are or how elite the talent is. No GOAT stakes or legacy-deciding titles are hanging over a first-round matchup. That's never been how basketball history works, and it's definitely not how this postseason should be judged either. But here's the issue. When pro-LeBron media sets that kind of standard, they end up trapping themselves in their own hype. Because at one point, LA was up 3-0, and everything was being pushed like a coronation. People were out here waving the GOAT flag as the decision had already been made, talking about a 40-year-old still being in the top-tier conversation all time, still top 10 debates flying everywhere. And as long as LeBron was winning, that narrative stayed loud, almost untouchable, like the stakes were justified. But the pattern is obvious. Whenever things go in his favor, the GOAT talk becomes the headline again. However, the moment momentum shifts, that same narrative suddenly fades into the background. If you really follow LeBron fans and the media voices around him, you'll notice this cycle every single time. When he wins, everything becomes about him, no matter the context or situation. He becomes the entire storyline, whether he plays great or even has an average night. But on the flip side, when things go wrong, suddenly the focus shifts away from LeBron completely, and the conversation quickly turns to everyone and everything else.
Sean's LeBron had 25, including this tough left hand.
I mean, he did everything he could. This Lakers team just didn't have enough. I mean, he did everything he could.
Twists away. James a 3. No.
Didn't panic.
James has it ripped away. Shepherd up.
I mean, he did everything he could.
James, they need it. Can't hit. 16 seconds. James, a deep 3.
I mean, he did everything he could.
Look, that right there was Shams Charania. He was off camera, but basically playing that no LeBron shift Klutch Sports insider role. He's in the background doing his job, feeding right into the LeBron media machine narrative. Now look at Game 4. If you actually watched it, LeBron was solid, but he wasn't spotless, with a couple of major late fourth quarter mistakes. And here's where it gets interesting. Pro-LeBron media voices like Shams Charania always end up becoming the easiest place to shift blame. Of course, Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart get pulled into the spotlight. And to be fair, in Game 5, those two were flat-out rough, combining for 12 points, 4 assists, and 3 turnovers on 3 for 12 shooting. You were getting nothing out there. Looking at Marcus Smart and Kennard objectively, it was an ugly performance. And yeah, if you want to pin responsibility on them, they can't fully escape it. But here's the real twist. When they actually go out there and perform at a high level, it barely gets mentioned. When they struggle, suddenly all the attention comes crashing down on them. Go back to those first 2 games in Los Angeles. The Lakers weren't up because LeBron was single-handedly carrying everything. It was because Smart and Kennard were putting on what looked like out-of-body performances. In Game 1 alone, they combined for 42 points and 11 assists while shooting 14 for 25. They also knocked down 6 threes together. That's not normal production, that's explosive impact. That right there is a huge reason LA stole Game 1 and shocked everyone. Now fast forward to Game 2, even better output, but still barely any credit is being given. They combined for over 50 points, 14 assists, elite efficiency, and hit 7 threes from deep.
The Lakers being up 2-0 had nothing to do with a LeBron-only storyline, J.J. Redick adjustments, or some perfect tactical master plan. It was simply Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard getting hot at the same time.
Hey, we need you to go be yourself. LeBron James steps up. Kennard fake. Kennard fire. Kennard hit. Kennard eventually gets it back. Fires up a three. Puts it in. Kennard tries a three. Got it.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
I didn't expect it to go this way. What impressed me most was, take a wild guess on this one, right? It's LeBron James.
Look, for this series, it's pretty simple. LeBron's overall play, good, bad, or in between, doesn't really decide the outcome of this matchup. What this series actually hinges on is Kennard, Smart, Rui, and 8. For LeBron, by his standards, it's been a pretty meh type of series. But if you look at his fan base, when he's out there playing even average basketball, they turn it into something way bigger. That's when the hype kicks in and suddenly he's being talked about like he's dragging Los Angeles on a GOAT-level run. When everything is going right, that narrative massively works in their favor. But the second things flip and LeBron isn't dominating while the team starts losing, the tone changes fast. Now, those same GOAT expectations suddenly become the burden of being the #1 option. That's a heavyweight they definitely don't want to sit with when things go sideways. And right now in the series, they're still up 3-2, but you can already see the backpedaling starting. LeBron's GOAT conversation at age 41 is being pushed again like he's proving everyone wrong. Case in point, look at Game 4 in Houston. A chance right there to close the series out and sweep it. LeBron in that game delivered what you can only call an all-time stinker. 10 points, 8 turnovers, 2 for 9 shooting, 0 for 3 from deep, and late fourth quarter stat padding just to avoid finishing with 8 points. Objectively speaking, that was a rough performance from LeBron. And then you look at the media reaction. What's the immediate excuse being pushed? Oh, he was coasting, load managing, taking it easy, basically framing it as a non-serious LeBron game that doesn't really matter in the bigger picture. It doesn't count in the evaluation. And that's the cycle every time.
If you could have load management in the playoffs, I think that's what it would look like. And I think it's important that he does this, because you get 2 days off. Game 5 is Wednesday. He has given you everything you need to win this series by Wednesday in 5.
So look, when you talk about networks like ESPN, you already know how the cycle works. LeBron's bad games tend to get quietly pushed aside and barely revisited. His average performances are often reframed like legendary displays in disguise. And when he actually drops a big game, it gets amplified like it's something he does every single night. For ESPN and the wider media machine around him, that's basically the pattern they operate on. Now, there's another angle you've got to understand. When it comes to pressure and stakes in the series, the narrative shifted multiple times. The Lakers opened the series basically playing with house money. No one really expected them to control it. Then Kevin Durant goes down with an injury, and suddenly LA jumps to a 3-0 lead. At that point, everything feels comfortable, almost like they're in full control of the situation. Even after losing Game 4, there's still not much panic because it's only 3-1. But once it hits 3-2 and the series swings back to Houston for Game 6 with a potential Game 7 looming, everything tightens up. And that's where the pressure really shifts. At that stage, the weight is clearly on the Lakers and LeBron James, not on the Rockets, who are already dealing with the loss of Kevin Durant and playing from behind.
And we've never seen the NBA ask a player at that age to do what they're asking him to do. That's not an excuse.
LeBron is still playing, Joe, right? Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
No, it was his decision to play this far into his career, 23 years in the league at 41 years old. What we can't keep doing is using his age as a reason when things don't work out, or trying to set that up as a crutch on why things didn't work out.
So stopping that right there for a second, this was Chad Trusino basically calling out Shannon Sharpe for what he sees as clear double standards. And look, Chad isn't some hardcore NBA analyst or die-hard breakdown guy, but even he can spot a pattern in how Shannon talks about LeBron. In one game, LeBron's age is used to a legacy boost to like, look what he's doing at 40 plus. The next game, that same age becomes a built-in excuse to shield him from criticism. And honestly, that flip-flop is exactly what people find frustrating about this conversation. It's not a one-off either. It's a pattern that keeps repeating over and over again. Now let me end it on this. If Shannon Sharpe or even hardcore LeBron supporters were being fully objective, they would have just said it straight. Games 1, 2, and 3, LeBron played solid, nothing crazy, but enough to get up 3-0 as a team win. But instead, the conversation gets pushed way beyond that. Suddenly, it turns into LeBron is carrying everything on his back type talk. And when you actually go back and watch it, that version just doesn't fully match reality.
If a 41-year-old LeBron James comes out and lead this Laker team to a first-round victory, being a heavy underdog, I don't want to hear anything about the GOAT conversation. That now you're led by a 41-year-old LeBron James that's about to travel on a 3.5-hour flight with a game on Friday night, and you're asking him to be ready, body-wise, right? He's going to do everything he possibly can. We know Bron. But it's on Houston's side, full of youth.
So long story short, it's really pretty simple when you zoom out and look at the pattern. When guys like Kennard and Smart show up and actually play well, they barely get mentioned or credited. LeBron ends up soaking up most of the praise in those moments, no matter who is really producing. But when those same role guys have an off night or a bad stretch, like the kind fans instantly highlight, then the blame flips fast. Suddenly, LeBron is protected from most of the criticism and the conversation shifts away from him. And if you've been watching this cycle for years, you already know exactly how it goes. This is the same familiar playbook that keeps repeating itself in these debates. And honestly, it probably won't change until LeBron eventually retires from the game. Whether that happens sooner or later, that's the only real moment this cycle finally breaks. As always, I appreciate you watching, hope you enjoyed the breakdown, and I'll catch you in the next one.